Hey guys, Jonah here once again, and I'm back this time with a beer review. And it seems like it's been a while. It's definitely been a couple of weeks, but we are back up in Yorkshire. Hey up, we're going to do another beer that I set up because these were meant to be a pair of beers, and it didn't quite work out that way, unfortunately. But never mind. It is a yeah, one of the kind of classic new school breweries from up in Yorkshire. It is North Brewing, up there in Leeds, or just above Leeds, I think. Is it just above? I can't remember. And look at that spider diagram down there. Very, very unusual because it's so light. It's like a Star Trek one, which you know I like. But yeah, it looks like a very light kind of pale ale. Hops in this bad boy, Idaho 7 Eldorado. And we got Talus, and it says sessionable pale ale made with 3 of the North's favourite hops. Just told you what they are actually. Spread upon a light, highly drinkable base, bringing clementine, grapefruit, zest, fleshy pear, pineapple, lime, coconut flavours. So I think coconut's coming from the Idaho 7, if I remember. I always get it wrong, but I think that's where it comes from. Anyway, so this is going to be a nice pale ale, 4.8%. Some people think, reasonably strong. We were talking about this the other day. I did go to another beer festival over Easter. It was the Gads Stroke. Oh man, I've forgotten what that place is called. Shivering Sands, that's right. The Gads Stroke Shivering Sands Beer Festival. It was the Gads 21 year, so they're only just legal celebration. And what they did was they set up a little minibus that went from the 2 breweries, which we used to do a bit down here in Kent because there were quite a few breweries that were, amiable to the drinker. A lot of them have had fallings out, which is over lockdown and all this kind of stuff. It's really sad because breweries joining together and doing things for the community, fantastic if you ask me. So yeah, minibus shuttled us between. It was like once an hour or something like that, and yeah, really good fun. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about this bad boy, and I reckon that looks better on the can than it does in the picture. Really weird pink balls and kind of straws. They look like pink eggs, kind of, and straws. All very modern, sort of new wave, all that kind of nonsense. And then we go to the back. We got North Brewing. Earthly Delights is the name of the beer. I don't think I said that. 4.8%, which is pretty good. We have got wheat, we have got oats in there. There is hope. And there we go, up in Springwell, sorry, up in Leeds. Well, not right in the centre, LS7, so it's on the outskirts. I remember exactly where it is. I've been to Leeds a few times, but yeah, absolute bad boy. So, without further ado, let me, the John a Jew, get this bad boy into a glass. We have, even though it's a 330 can, the can is substantially smaller than the glass, but hey, that leaves room for some head, doesn't it, dear viewer? We can go for a slightly aggressive pour on that bad boy, get some head on there. I'm really liking this. Shall I do one of these? I haven't done one of these for a while. And that, dear viewer, is going to be, however it comes out, the thumbnail for this video. A good finger's head. I don't know what's happened to my finger. I've bashed it somehow. Fluffy, lovely, fluffy, big bubbles, carbonation bubbles. Fantastic. Nice colour. A little bit darker than a normal pale, and it is very sort of, I would call that opaque. Definitely a hazy style beer. Oh, lovely. I'm getting that fruity, that light kind of upscale thing. I'm definitely getting the melon, and I tend to get that from Tallis. I'm not sure why, but I do. It's all quite pale. Maybe a little bit of kind of pineapple stuff there too. Zestiness, maybe not on the nose so much. Definitely kind of citrusy stuff. Definitely a tropical inspired beer. They all seem to be at the moment. What happened to those proper gnarly old school West Coast IPAs? And yeah, I drank those Brewdog beers the other day. I have to say, I'm getting more into my traditional beers as well. And from Yorkshire, it's unusual, but then it's on point, isn't it? It's on style at the moment. Cheers and beers, dear viewer. We will see what we get out of this bad boy. Oh yeah, a lot more hoppy. Oh, but not much. It's quite hoppy up front, and then it kind of mellows out a little bit. The wheat and the oats, as I say quite often, because a lot of the beers have those things in at the moment, gives it that creaminess, gives it that kind of substance, that chewiness, which a lot of the hops kind of build on these days. And then, yeah, it's nice and mellow, sort of tail out. I was going to say, they did mention pear in there, and I was thinking, oh, that would be quite nice. And I kind of got pear drops, um, especially because of the carbonation of this beer. It kind of, yeah, it gave me this kind of pear drop thing in the mouth. And back in the old college days, me and my buddy, me and Jim, you've heard me talk about him before. Um, we used to we used to do a thing where we would have um, yeah, pear drops and cigarettes at break time at college. Don't know why, but they do go together. Dear viewer, please don't think that I'm saying you should start smoking. They were different times back then. And subsequently, I've had cancer, and my dear friend Jim is no longer here. So it didn't do us any good, but it was what we used to do at break time at the college. Lunchtime, we would buy our lunch from the ice cream van, and we would actually get, I don't know why, but we would get a burger, and it was called the Carlos Special Burger. Anything you can possibly think of was in this burger. It was a quarter pounder, fat as anything. It was £5. I think it had sausage, it had a chicken in it, I think it had an egg cracked on it. It was like gigantic burger. Um, so yeah, fantastic. I better drink some more. Look, I also can see something I love. Look at that. Nice old dead straight. Well, as straight as you can get, really. Tide line, which is always a stamp of quality from Unclejona's Beer Channel. Go in for some more, eh? Ooh. Second draft. Little bit more going on there. The kind of pear drops are there. A little bit of zestiness there. The melon and the kind of white fruit is there as well. The tropical fruits are very much in the background here, which is unusual for a kind of beer such as this. But if you remember that spider diagram, everything was kind of dialed back a little bit, wasn't it? So the flavors and the aromas are, yeah, they're not in your face. They're not trying to rip your face off and jump down your throat. These are very kind of mellow things going on here, which is nice to see. And I'm so glad that they have called it a pale ale. I think my dulcet tones are getting through to people. Pale ales are not, I repeat, pale ales are not session IPAs. They are pale ales. Um, this whole session IPA, complete nonsense. I'm glad to say Wow, dear viewer, I did tell you it was well carbonated. Yeah, this Session IPA complete wrongness thankfully seems to be disappearing, or at least maybe I'm avoiding picking them up in the shops and hence doing reviews on it. But as I've said before, dear viewer, to thine own self be true. Remember that. Right, let's dive in. I think this is probably the last, and it tends to get a bit different with the last draft, shall we say? Cheers and beers. Oh, a little bit more kind of grittiness, a little bit of substance. Maybe there were a little bits of hops or malts, perhaps pieces of yeast. Who knows? Floating around in that can, so they all settle out. So a little bit of kind of grittiness, which is not a bad thing. Please don't think that I'm marking it down. Fantastic, lovely pale ale, lovely and fresh. Just what you want on a spring evening. Look at that. We've got one, two, and three tide lines going on there. Absolutely fantastic beer. I reckon that's a good 3.5 to 4 out of 5. Um, I am kind of marking my beers at the moment because obviously I want to give you the beer of the box from the Yorkshire box, and yeah, because I've had lots of beer festivals and Death in the Family and all this kind of stuff, I'm a little bit behind on the Yorkshire box, which is a real shame. And I got an email saying that my next box, the Siren one, is out for delivery. So it usually takes a day or two. So it'll probably, well, fingers crossed, it will get here tomorrow, and I'll be able to do a review on that. But I'm going to have to finish these Yorkshire ones up because I really want to get cracking on the Siren ones. I've seen some of the Siren things on their websites, and some of the beers, I'm fingers crossed, we're going to get some of the actual birthday beers within the box. Not 100% sure. And I have had quite a few of the Siren beers before, but I'm going to do reviews, dear viewer, on all of them. So, yeah, sometimes you'll find that I have doubled up on my beer reviews, but I drink so many blooming beers that it's hard to keep track sometimes. Anyway, well over the 10 minutes, which is kind of where I'm aiming for. Dear viewer, please look after yourself. Enjoy the weather while we still have it, because it is going to rain this week. There is some rain coming. Looking out the window, might be getting here already. Anyway, you guys take care of yourselves. We'll see you real soon for more beer reviews.